0, 1. Let's get started.
Why they stopping me?
Bye, crypto bro.
Okay, you'll do. Come up here. Bow to your sensei. Bow to your sensei. Okay.
What up, crypto peeps? It's that guy again. Ball Deep Crypto. Coming at you with a little SHX piece. Going to be talking about its recent developments, what they've been doing recently with Japan, and so on. You think anybody wants a roundhouse kick to the head with a pair of these SHX pants on? Forget about it. Enough of the yip yap. Let's get into it. We're going to talk about the recent developments, including Stronghold's recognition as a 2025 Inc. 500 list. So that's what it's doing, obviously. You guys know about the 60 billion SHX tokens that were locked up. If you don't, in August 2025 they did, which is approximately 60% of the total supply in Sorobon, which we love. Smart contracts for 5 years. It's obviously transparent escrow mechanisms with no manual unlocks to give it that long-term good feeling about having it locked in, so you can't dump on the market, can't fluctuate the price like that. Now, I asked them about the SHX Japan and what it refers to Stronghold, and it's basically what Stronghold's trying to do is have an expansion into the Japanese market, of course. In August 2025, as was noted on X, a dedicated account, Stronghold Japan, popped up with its content tailored to Japanese users. This included an AMM, which I don't have video of, but it happened, and basically with Tammy Camp and team members introducing the platform to engage new users. Basically, it looks like what their focus is going to be is on real estate tokenization using smart contracts for automated escrow, title verification, and frictionless processes, as highlighted in Japan's language, videos, and posts. So it looks like Stronghold's trying to get into the RWA and tokenization side of the Japanese market. Potentially big. We're going to talk about just how big that's going to be. So, bow to your SHXei. Again, before I get into all this, obviously I'm just yipping. I'm yapping. This is not financial advice. Do what you want to do with your money. This is what I'm doing with mine. Take it from your boy or don't. That's your choice. Again, I make 20 bucks an hour. Take that or leave it. Doesn't mean I'm wrong. Doesn't mean I'm right. All right, you guys are adults. Figure this shit out together. Let's get it, people. All right, so this move into Japan positions Stronghold in a $550 billion infrastructure investment landscape under recent U.S.-Japan trade agreements, potentially leveraging yen stablecoins on Stellar for cross-border flows. As you know already, I love Stellar. I love XLM. I'm drinking the freaking Kool-Aid. I'm on it. Extra sugar. Give me that diabetes. Love it. Not the diabetes, but I love that Kool-Aid. So obviously, we love Stellar. We know they're cross borders. We know they're in with the Sorobon and the RWA, the tokenization. If you watch my previous videos, which, I don't have that many views, but shout out to you who have, then you know what the flip I'm yapping on here. Now, Stronghold is actively pursuing new partnerships and opportunities, emphasizing interoperability between legacy systems and blockchain. Key ongoing or recent efforts include, obviously, their Nacha collaboration. You guys know about that. I've talked about it as a preferred partner for ACH. 10th, they're currently doing trillions with 82.5 trillion with a 3 to 5% annual increase. So they've got that. What I didn't know about until I did a little search into here was that there's speculation exists around a similar tie-up with Japan's Zenjin network for domestic payments, given the Japan expansion. Now, we're going to get into that in a second. That has the potential to be big as well. Now, the core banking integrations, obviously, with SHX, they're targeting 3 dominant U.S. providers, Pfizer, Jack Henry, and FIS. They control over 80% of the banking infrastructure, and Stronghold is building virtual payment networks, VPNs, for customizable, resilient finance, enabling real-time settlements and liquidity flows without disrupting legacy rails. This could unlock trillions in volume for FedNow and ISO 222 compliant systems, which we know Stellar is part of the FedFast now. We know that. We know that Stellar, or SHX, is also, they're also part of the ISO 222 compliant. They actually own the ISO 222 labs. So there we have that working with us, not against us. Beautiful thing, SHX. It's under 2 cents. It's under 2 cents. Not financial advice, but what the flip do you spend 2 cents on? You know what I mean? You probably wouldn't even pick up 2 pennies off the ground. I'd pick it up and buy some SHX. I'm that cheap. I'm that broke. Anywho, we're going to talk about exchange listings, liquidity. Active work on new partnerships with recent funds sent to major exchanges like Binance, Coinbase, Kraken, and others, totaling over 200 million. Now, what a lot of people have been hollering about online is singling potential Tier 1 listings. Obviously, Tier 1 listings, more exposure, could potentially boost the price, the action, the amount that's purchased. You know, more people that can get it, more people that know about it, more people that see exactly what you're seeing right here, because you have the vision, you have that opportunity that you see in SHX like I do. A lot of more people maybe get that exposure, which could obviously boost the price. So Tier 1 listings, never a bad thing. We'll see how that works down the road. Another ecosystem development program, you know, obviously they're working with Burns, advanced escrows, time locks, AI integrations, RWA tokenization focus, videos and initiatives on tokenizing real estate, Japan, which we talked about above, and insurance. They also want to be working with insurance, the bill latings, things of that nature. They've also have the IBM collaboration for enterprise-grade infrastructure with the they did the Stellar dollar, you know what I mean? Or SHX dollar, sorry about that. IBM WorldWire. Potential ties to Ripple. Obviously, they can in their interoperability to work with Ripple, with Stellar, with IBM. The SHX kind of a one-stop shop. You know, X Money for ACS-based payouts. If you saw, I did the X Money video talking about Stellar. We obviously know that SHX runs on Stellar, and they have obviously the ACH-based payments and so on. I mean, there's so many different things that either Stellar and or SHX, for that matter, can dip in their toes into the water and provide assistance for a lot of people. Now, obviously, I heard about the Japan thing, so I asked it some questions. What is this network? What does it do? The Zenjin network, operated by the Japanese Bank's Payment Clearing Network, is Japan's domestic interbank funds transfer network. It was launched in 1973. It is the world's oldest real-time payment system, handling both small value and large value electric yen transfers across approximately 1,200 financial institutions. It processes non-urgent, low-value payments, typically under 100 million yen per transaction, in real time during core hours, with features like same-day settlement, fraud detection, and integration with other systems like the Bank of Japan Net for liquidity. The system has evolved to including a large value settlement system for transactions of 5 billion yen or more, aiming to enhance efficiency and risk reduction. Now, regarding annual volume, I said based on the available data, the Zen Yang, to give you an idea of the scale of this system and what it's doing currently in Japan, and obviously been doing since the 70s. The Zenjin system processes an average daily volume about 6.4 million transactions in 2016, with growth to around 7 to 8 million daily by 2024. Exact figures are obviously redacted, but trends show a 6% year-over-year increase in real transactions. This equates to roughly 1.6 to 2 billion transactions annually, assuming 250 business days in a year. For value, the daily average was approximately 11.9 trillion in 2016, rising to around 14.4 trillion by recent estimates. Annually, this translates to 3,000 to 36,000 trillion, roughly 20 to 24 trillion USD at current exchange rates. Wow. So, that's, $24 trillion is nothing to sneeze at. This is a big opportunity. So whether it's true or not, I don't see why they wouldn't if they're in with Nacha here. This seems to be part of their core of what they do. It kind of lines up, you know. This is all speculation, of course. Now, through core time settlements in fiscal 2021 alone, reached trillions in yen. These volumes reflect Japan's shift towards digital payments, with overall cashless transactions hitting 111 trillion in 2022. Now, SHX benefits and opportunities with Zengen. Obviously, Stronghold's SHX token and platform built on the Stellar blockchain. Love them both. Could benefit, shout out, the Zengen network by bridging traditional banking rails with blockchain for faster, lower costs, and more interoperable payments. Similar to the existing partnerships with Nacha in the U.S. and for ACH processing. Again, big opportunity there. They only get 1% of that business. It's approximately $900 billion of transaction flows a year. Woo! 2 cents, people. Man up, woman up. Shout out to the women out there if you're here. Way to be in on crypto. I see you. You're smart. If there's no women here, I don't care. If it's all guys, let's ride. SHX enables real-time settlements, merchant rewards, liquidity access, and government, and potentially enhancing Zengen's efficiency and cross-border yen flows, tokenization, and DeFi integrations. Now, opportunities include collaborating on blockchain legacy systems, interoperability such as using SHX for instant settlements or yen stablecoins on Stellar, leveraging Japan's $550 billion infrastructure investments under U.S.-Japan trade agreements. B. You know I love words that start with B's and T's. That's what I'm talking about. I'll take some M's too, you know. I can't be greedy, you know. I'm trying to make that money. M's, B's, or T's are the bee's knees. Shout out to the bees too. Take care of them. They're dying. Those little dirty things pollinate everything, you know what I mean? I always tell my kids, if you see a bee, mine's his business. You see a wasp, wasp out, people. All right. Community speculation highlights high probability partnerships mirroring Nacha ties to process Zengen's high volume with reduced fees and risk. Now, no official announcements exist yet, but Stronghold Japan's expansion via SHX Japan positions it for such collaborations, potentially unlocking trillions in payments volume through virtual payments networks for customizable finance. Now, of course, I asked about it. I said, what's Japan's real estate tokenization market size? Let's see. Japan's overall market is valued at around $20 trillion. There's that T again, with real estate tokenization gaining traction through blockchain for fractional ownership, liquidity, and efficiency. Now, if you guys know what fractional ownership is, talking about tokenizing assets, they're talking about you owning a part of a building, let's call it an apartment complex or a rental community or something like that. You'll be a partial stake owner of it in the future, so basically like you'll buy a part of it and potentially get paid off of what it does. Sorry, it's 3 a.m. here. I worked. Shout out to my people at work. You know who you are. Appreciate you being here. But yeah, anyways, a little bit tired, but I'm trying to shoot out this for you because I thought that it was important. Maybe it's not. Now, we have, obviously, through fractional liquidity and efficiency, over 70 tokenized real estate offerings have launched since 2021, driven by clear Financial Services Agency, the FSA regulations, and secondary markets. Now, the broader tokenization market in Japan is projected to reach 0.2 billion in 2025, growing at now by that it's growing at a 21.2%. For real estate specifically, major initiatives include Gates planning to tokenize over 200 billion in holdings, starting with 75 million and expanding to 34 billion in phase 1, and MUFG tokenizing 100 billion yen, 650 million USD, Osaka skyscraper directly on the blockchain without intermediaries. Now, globally, tokenized real estate is expected to grow from 300 billion in 2024 across the globe to over $4 trillion by 2035, a 27% year-over-year increase. Now, with Japan's leading in Asia and potentially capturing 20%, Japan, okay, this is what we're talking about. Japan, SHX, tokenization, Sorabon, Stellar, I talk about that, Where you at, Ethereum? Huh, ETH? Trash. Now, with Japan leading in Asia and potentially capturing 20% of the 16 trillion total asset tokenization market by 2030. Now, we talked about this. Well, we, the royal we, you know, I'm talking about me. Shout out to you. We feel like we're a little clique here. My clique, my family, anywho, so we talked about this with Soroban. We talked about agua, right, being the liquid that flows through Soroban, right? It's a settling token. So we're talking about, if you go back and watch that video, and you'll see the numbers that it needs to reach. You know, it's currently $900, roughly around for 1 million of them. If it gets to a penny, it's $10,000. All right, you see this? It just needs tokenized assets. We're talking trillions here, billions. Come on, people. You know what to do. You know exactly what to do. Now, SHX and Soroban rails via Stellar XLM for tokenization. Yes, Stronghold's SHX token is designed to run real estate tokenization on Soroban. Now, Stellar's smart contract platform, leveraging Stellar Luma's XLM for underlying rails. SHX powers DeFi applications like automated escrows, title verification, and frictionless settlements on Soroban, which enforces transparent, code-governed mechanisms, e.g., Stronghold's recent $6 billion. You know, we'll talk about how they locked up their escrow. This enables secure, compliant, global asset tokenization with low energy use and real-time features, positioning SHX to handle Japan's growing market through initiatives like real estate-backed RWAs. There it is. Stellar's network supports 24/7 issuances and has been used for similar tokenization, e.g. bonds, making it ideal for SHX Japan's focus on property tokenization. Now here I want to say, okay, well, what's it saving? You know what I mean? So we looked at it here, and it says here, per transaction fees for the Zenjin. The cost right now to pay Zenjin Network for clearing, the fee structure was revised for a flat rate of 62 yen, about 40 cents USD per transaction in 2021, with no major updates reported since. Earlier structures included tier rates such as $1 USD for transfers under 276 and $1.49 USD for larger amounts. Now, additional data processing fees can add 1 yen per operation. Now, banks pass on costs plus margins to users. Average fees for domestic yen transfers via Zenjin range from 55 to 550 yen, between 35 cents and $3.60 USD per transaction. Now, depending on the bank and the method, of course, for example, it gives you the example here, 7 Bank was 55 to 165, SMBC 330 to 550. So it says overall average is 200 to 300 yen, $1.30 to $2 USD per transaction based on common retail banking rates. So as a whole, on average, it's $1.30 to $2 after all the fees are settled. Now it says overall annual fees. Interbank total, you got a 62 yen per transaction and 1.75 billion annual transactions. This equates to 108.5 billion yen, which is roughly $720 million USD a year in fees that it costs the consumer. Now, we've got the customer total, an average of 250 yen per transaction. This totals 437.5 billion yen, 2.9 billion USD annually. This represents the broader economic cost via legacy rails, as interbank fees are often embedded in customer charges. So 2.9 billion. So you've got the charges within the bank, 750 million, then you've got the 2.9 billion it costs the customer. Combined, the legacy system's fee ecosystem likely generates 3 to 4 billion USD annually, though exact revenue for Zenjin's net itself is lower. Okay, now the potential savings with SHX, as we know, it runs on Stellar. We've gone over the price of that. It says SHX could reduce price per transaction cost fractions of a cent, saving 99.9% on fees. Now, the interbank annual estimated savings is 108 billion yen, 720 USD, as SHX eliminates clearing fees. For the customer, it's 437 billion yen, which is 2.9 billion yen, with users paying near zero instead of 200 to 300 yen. Now, total potential, 3 to 4 billion USD annually, plus efficiency gains from 24/7 real-time processing versus Zenjin's limited hours. This assumes SHX handles equivalent volumes without added cost. Through initial integration might involve one-time fees. though. Japan's now, it says savings for real estate tokenization. Now, Japan's real estate market is valued at 20 to 25 trillion, which we talked about, with annual transaction volumes around 400 to 500 billion USD. Residential 193, yada yada. Traditional transaction costs 5 to 8% of property value. Brokerage with 3% plus 60,000 yen fixed. Registration, stamp duty 1 to 2%. Total 6 to 10%, including taxes and intermediaries. Now, the blockchain tokenization part of this, e.g. via SHX on Sorobon smart contract for escrows and fractional ownership. So this is what we're talking about. This is what we're interested in. So we know what it costs up there. It says it reduces those by automating processes, cutting intermediaries, and enabling low-fee transfers. This is going to be the future. You're going to be able to get a house in a day. You're going to cut out the middleman. You're going to be able to save a ton of money on all these fees that are bloated money, in my opinion, but that's how I see it. Reported savings between 50 and 90% on operational transaction costs, including 60% reduction in entry barriers and $850 per $100,000 deal. Now, the annual savings that estimate at 450 billion annual transactions and 6% annual fees. Tokenization could save 13.5 to 24 billion USD, which is 50 to 90% savings year over year over year over year, people. This is the future of money. This is what they want. For SHX specifically, with its focus on real estate RWAs in Japan's, saving could be higher due to Stellar's ultra-low fees versus traditional 3 to 5% broker cuts. As tokenization grows, e.g. 0.2, we are early, billion market in 2025, potentially 20% of 16 trillion globally by 2030. You are currently at 0.2 billion in 2025, and and Japan's potentially going to be 20% of the 16 trillion global market by 2030. SHX adoption could capture a portion, amplifying savings through fractionalization and liquidity. There it is, people. What is 20 of 16 trillion? Let's do it. Let's find out. We'll end it on this. So, could potentially have $3.2 trillion of tokenization by 2030. SHX. Bow to your SHXei. And like I always say, people, have a great day. Get what you can. HODL, hold. Don't be scared. They want your crypto. They want it cheap. They want you to be scared. They want you to think that you don't know what you know, but you're here knowing it. Know that I know, that you know, that we know, that they know, that we are not scared. Diamond hands. And like I always say, chase a check, never chase a bit.